Our issue segment tonight, it's a common adage that people vote according to their pocketbooks, and this election was no exception to that. Hillary Clinton promised to raise taxes and increase regulations, and Americans said no thank you. But what can they expect from President Trump, and how will that affect their bottom line? Joining me now, accountant and nationally recognized tax expert Andrew Poulos. Andrew, thanks for being here.
Hey, Liz, good to see you again. Thanks.
Andrew, listen, I'd like to know how much my taxes are going to go down under a President Trump once he's sworn in, once he gets his tax plan done. So break down the basics of what he's offering taxes. I mean, from what I understand, he's going to eliminate many of the tax brackets.
I'm expecting to see an elimination of some tax brackets on federal and obviously a major change in corporate tax reform. That's our biggest challenge that we have and the biggest obstacle that I'm expecting to see some change. As far as individual tax brackets, yes, we'll see some reform there. What you or anyone else or any of us will pay will really depend on what tax brackets we'll be left with and how much income we make. But there's going to be more reform than just individual tax brackets.
Right. But for the purposes of the individual tax brackets, because I think a lot of people that is what interests them the most, let me give you a couple of hypothetical questions here. So say an individual makes $50,000 a year. What are their taxes? What's their tax bracket going to look like under a President Trump?
Probably 15%.
All right, and that compares to what it is now, how?
That compares to whether you're single or married, you might be up around 21% right now. Again, these are all hypotheticals because we're just assuming that something like this is going to happen. It could be more drastic up or down at the moment. So, but yeah,
right, but it would be a slight, maybe 5-6% decrease under a President Trump. All right, hypothetically, if a person makes $100,000, first of all, what's their tax rate now, and then what would it be under President Trump?
Look, if you're a single taxpayer making $100,000 right now, depends if you can itemize or not. So once again, there's a lot of variables involved, but you're probably upwards in the somewhere around the 25% right now. You're probably going to see some sort of a 5 to 6% reduction, most likely under President Trump.
All right, that looks pretty good. I mean, pretty standard. What about an individual that makes $250,000 or more a year? What is their tax bracket now, and how might that compare to taxes under President Trump?
Those folks should fare fairly well under President Trump. Reason is, right now, you also have the Affordable Care Act Medicare tax that's built into the ACA. So when you get up to $250,000, you're getting hit with that 0.9% plus your upper tax bracket of in the 30%, in the mid-30s range. So you're going to probably fare well under President Trump if you're a higher income earner, as you probably will if you're somewhat on a lower spectrum, pretty much of middle-class America. So it just really depends. One of the things, Liz, that I want to mention is that we're not only expecting a change, obviously we're expecting probably the biggest tax reform since '86, but we're not expecting just tax brackets to change. We're expecting a lot that's going to change with itemized deductions and with the standard deduction. So a lot's going to revolve around that, and that's what I'm waiting to see is what President Trump
it's really the whole structure. It's not just the numbers. I think, from what I understand, if President Trump is able to introduce and implement the tax plan that he campaigned on, the one that's on his website, it's an entire structural change here. One last question about individuals, and that is there any bracket of people at any income level where their taxes will go up under a President Trump?
You might not, I won't say go up, but I will say that you may not be as beneficial under President Trump if you are a lower income family, lower middle America, middle class, basically, with 4 kids, 5 kids, someone along those lines. If we have a major structure, major tax reform with these itemized deductions and the standard deductions changing, and then we are also I'm expecting some changes with the earned income credit. So if you're a family, if you're a household of perhaps with 4 more children, you may not be as beneficial from a President Trump as some other folks.
Right, but we may have to wait and see exactly what those numbers are depending on what the plan is. Last question, Andrew, before we're out of time. The House GOP has introduced a tax plan. It's actually in relation to corporate taxes here, but President-elect Trump says that it's too complicated, and in my opinion, that's because it proposes an alternative to tariffs. What's your take on that?
Look, we need corporate tax reform. That's without a doubt. President Trump campaigned on that. Everyone knows that. It's a reason why we have trade imbalance and we have a lot of the trade issues that we have. So what I'm expecting and what I hope we will see is a more simplified tax code for corporate America and for small businesses, basically. Give folks a chance to be able to prosper and small businesses in corporate America to be able to create more jobs, meaningful jobs, not what liberals want pretty much, which is minimum wage, $7, $8 an hour. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I think we'll see some good things out of President Trump.
Right, and maybe we'll even see this in the first 100 days. Who knows? Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your expertise. It's always great to talk to you. Our final tipping point of the night, guess who wouldn't have been invited to the so-called Women's March in Washington? The original feminists. I kid you not, and I'll tell you why when we come back.